Okay, this is gonna be a demonstration to answer some of you guys' questions from the homework video I had you guys look at. This is like a couple, maybe like 1 or 2 weeks ago. So just to kind of go over certain things and Photoshop and what the person did in the video. All right, so I'm gonna open up Photoshop, just make a blank page, click File, New, and we're gonna create a landscape. So there's a lot of things that were covered in the video though that we're going to do a little bit differently just because the things in the video was it's a little bit differently than like how we're going to do it though. But yeah, first things first though is the Adobe Mini Bridge. I don't know if we have that program on the computer. Let me just check real quick. Adobe Mini Bridge. So I actually don't see it on here, but you don't really need the Adobe. Oh, it's right here, Adobe Bridge. So we actually do have the program though, but we're not gonna go like super in depth with this program. But basically, this program's used to help to organize your files, images, into the program. So it's kind of like easy to kind of like drop and pick images from the this program. Again, I've never used this program before. I actually don't think it's necessary to use it, but it is a nice way to organize all of your pictures and to kind of click and drag your pictures from that file. But to answer some of your questions on the Adobe Mini Bridge, though, these were actually images that the artist found ahead of time, and kind of like use it as kind of like assets or images to help to create her. Her digital journal entry. But these are like pictures that weren't like preset images from the program, though this is like stuff that she found ahead of time. So in order to do like the same things that she's done, though, you're gonna have to kind of like look up these things on the internet. So let me see. So I actually gathered some of these images. This isn't the right folder. Let's see, where did I put that folder that I made? Oh, it's under demonstrations. So I grabbed some of these images. I'm actually gonna grab some extra ones too. A lot of these images, though, like the, things that she used for her, background textures, other things that she added. You're gonna have to kind of like create and look for these things on the internet. So one thing I did want to like show you that that was in the video was kind of like how she used the torn paper as a clipping mask to kind of like create like a actual torn paper on the Photoshop. So what I would do is you could just look up torn paper, and it's gonna give you like a lot of different versions of torn paper. I actually like to look up torn paper mask. So mask Photoshop, or just mask in general. But basically, this is going to give you kind of like the outline of the paper that you need. So, we can use this one here. But, the clipping mask, basically it's just you're looking for like a shape of a certain thing. We're going to use that mask as the actual image. So I'm actually going to save this one right here to use the mask. So we got that one there. So, if I click this on to Photoshop and, just kind of like resize it, double click it. It is a little pixelated though, so let's just see if this works though if we were to use this as a mask. So if I were to just use the selection tool, and we're just going to select that shape. So we select that shape, Command C copy, Command V paste. This is again like from the video of how we're going to cut out the pictures. Now we have like a good cutout of the shape. Okay, so you have the shape here. You can change, manipulate, move things. Again, it doesn't really matter what color it is though, but we're just using it kind of as like a mask. So basically like this is gonna be the shape of the paper we're gonna add to it. So let's just say I wanted to add this texture on top. Okay, so pretty much you're gonna have this texture on top, just gonna cover it, and all you're gonna do is you're just going to right click, create a clipping mask, and basically it's gonna put that clipping mask on that paper. Okay, so that's basically what the person did in the demonstration. Alright, so now if you wanted to make the paper a little bit more see-through, a little bit more opaque, you can change this opacity button, which will allow you to kind of like see through the paper. So I'm gonna make it see-through though, but the problem is this is the black color though when I do the see-through. So instead of making it black though, I might want to change the color to white. So if you click on the three buttons down here, go to your paint bucket tool, change the color to white. you can literally change the whole thing to white, and it'll give you more of like the see-through that you want. So, you can have more like that, more like this, up to you. Okay, so now that we have these things together, though, let me see. I can move that around. Actually, okay. So now that we have those assets together. Basically, you can create a drop shadow with the shapes on the bottom. So now the video showed you like to click on the FX button. Now she had like preset FX or special effects, added to the program. So she did a lot of like things, prepped ahead of time for her video. But in order to like, create a drop shadow for your objects, though, you would click on the paper. I'm actually gonna title this paper so I know what it is. Let's say it's torn paper. And then this one we can tell with texture. So it's always good to label these things on your picture just so you know what it is. And, you have these two things here. This is the your texture on top. This is the torn paper. So on the torn paper layer, you would right-click on your mouse, and then you would go into blending options. Okay, so blending options is going to give you a lot of different things to do, but we're going to be just doing a drop shadow. So you click on drop shadow, you check that off. This is going to actually add the drop shadow effect. And then if you click on the drop shadow tab, you say like it changed though. So this is going to allow you to manipulate the effects more. So you can change the direction of the shadow. You can make the shadow a little bit more sharper on the edges. You can spread out the shadow to make it a little bit more blurry. So these are like a lot of things you have to kind of do in order to get the effect that you want. And then you can also change the opacity too. If you want to make it darker, you can, or even change the overlay. But I'm just gonna keep it on multiply though, just because it looks fine that way. But just basically have to play around with it. And then you can actually make this as a default. So if you click on make default, basically any drop shadow you have will be like the same kind of drop shadow. And you click OK to finalize those things. But if you wanted to, you can add more effects to it. If you wanted to, you can actually add an inner shadow to the picture. So maybe I'll just use this as the I guess you can't use it as default because it's different, but you can let's just keep it simple though. We'll just keep it on drop shadow though. I wouldn't play around with the other effects unless if you're really interested in the other ones. Do let me know. I can kind of like show you everything that you can do with it. But that kind of answers the questions in the video though. And then if you wanted to like kind of duplicate this paper, so the person in the video had like a lot of layers in their work. My suggestion though is if you're happy with how this paper looks and you want to make copies of it, the best way to do this though is just kind of like put all these things in a folder. So if you click on create group, you can title this as your torn paper, just a torn paper. And then you can click and drag this whole thing into that folder. Oops. Okay, so to click the whole thing though, you'd have to kind of like hold the shift key and select both of these things and then just drag it into that folder. Okay, so this is in the folder now, even though it didn't look like it was. It's just the folder was open. But have everything in the folder though, it's gonna make things a lot easier because if you looked at the video, there's like all the layers that the person was showing. Again, if you wanted to like duplicate the group, you can duplicate it, and then you can just like drag the copies of paper elsewhere. You can resize it, move it behind. So you can kind of use this like, basically it's just like creating assets or things in the picture, to help you with, oops, sorry, just not clicking on here. Okay. So you can resize it, rotate it around. If I want to duplicate it again, I could. Otherwise, it's passing through. Let's see if this is normal. I'm gonna make it smaller. Yeah, that's kind of like what they did to like make those different papers. Now, if you wanted to add like other overlays on top, you can. So if I were to click and drag this and kind of like use it as a background in a way, you can. But instead of using it as a background though, if we actually put it on top of the whole thing, you can play around with these different overlays. So, you can do like maybe darken, multiply, lighten. See like what these different effects do for like the picture. They all have like a different effect to it. Now with these ones on the top here, basically it's going to show more of the shadows in the picture. And then you can always change the opacity down too, so you don't have to have it like be like super strong. But, basically the person was just creating like different layers of these different textures or different things in the picture. Yeah, but hopefully this kind of like helped out a little bit with kind of like what direction you want to um, take your journal entry.